Ego doesn't want to diminish, it wants to have a sense of identity. And so it plagues your head with thoughts that stop you from going in and doing the inner work in order to find the thing that you're searching for. All of your habits and addictions are coming from your ego. Your ego can only exist in separation, and essentially you're going to remain in the fight or flight survival response because of it. There's not many videos on the internet about how to feel good. The reason for that is that most people are searching for videos from their ego. The thing with having our egos running the show, which is what most of humanity is doing today, is that our egos exist in separation. It's literally not possible for our egos to feel good. It exists in separation, and it's going to do everything it can to stop us from finding inner completion, inner happiness and inner fulfillment, because in order to experience that inner happiness, essentially feeling good, our egos have to slowly diminish. And our ego doesn't want to diminish, it wants to have a sense of identity. And so it plagues your head with thoughts that stop you from going in and doing the inner work in order to find the thing that you're searching for. Instead, it makes you search in the world around you for that inner happiness, and guess what? You never find it out there. Literally, we can't find this inner completion, this inner fulfillment, this happiness. It can't be found in the world around us. This teachings go back many thousands of years, right? This isn't anything new. And it's interesting that humanity is still making the mistakes that they were making many thousands of years ago. So we want to really get an understanding of what's going on here. We're becoming the slave to our ego, and our ego's running the show. Yet all esoteric teachings, the pure ones, are about attaining control over our internal world. And that's how we reach enlightenment. We reach enlightenment through having such control over our inner world that nothing in the world around us affects us. And when nothing in the world around us affects us, we're free to raise our vibration and raise our consciousness to very high levels. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how we can work through this little predicament and get to a point of feeling good inside. So here's you. You have a heart, obviously. Now, when I say heart, I don't mean your physical heart, which you have as well. But I mean that you have a heart chakra, which is in the center of the chest here. And this is where you experience and feel love. If you were to think of someone or a place or an animal that you feel love for, and then you drop into your body and locate where you feel that love, you'll find that you experience it here. So really, in order for you to feel good, all you've got to do is come down into your heart and feel the love that is there. Now, if you're walking around not feeling any love there, that doesn't mean that there's not love there. All that means is that you're so caught up in your mind, in the constant thinking, in the constant need to seek out happiness through all the habits and addictions, and just the constant rumination of thoughts. It literally puts your nervous system into a state of fight or flight, and that closes your heart, and that stops you feeling good. Now what have you got to do in order to try and feel good? Well, you're unable to feel good inside, so you have to search for things outside of yourself in order to try and feel good, right? Now, there's many different layers of feeling good, and essentially our hearts can be very closed off to the world and very open. And it really depends on how safe we feel within our bodies, and that is linked to our nervous system. And all of that is essentially linked to the levels of consciousness that we have access to in this reality. So these are the main levels of consciousness. If you look at each one and feel your body, you might recognize that you've experienced these in the past, and you experience them through a frequency through the body. Now, there's many different layers, and these are just a few of the basic ones. But essentially at the very top we got peace. Now when you're experiencing peace, your heart's so wide open that there are no problems in the world. That's where you feel really good. And as you go down the levels of consciousness, slowly your heart begins to close. So when you're down in apathy, which is essentially depression, because you don't want to have to feel all the emotions, your heart's really closed off. And you don't feel good. We generally don't feel good in apathy. Now, everything from pride and below is a survival emotion and is linked to the fight or flight response. So every time that your nervous system goes into a state of fight or flight, because on some level you feel unsafe, now that could be your unconscious mind that remembers every event everything that's ever happened to you, believes that you're unsafe, and therefore will trigger the fight or flight response. Now when you're in the fight or flight response, you're only able to feel the survival emotions. And this is where most people live, most of their lives, is in this state of survival. In survival, you can't feel good because your body is literally working on trying to keep you alive. So looking out for threats, looking out for things to go wrong, which basically activates the mind to a very high level. And in that, your heart closes off and you can't experience any of the higher, lighter, unity-based emotions that you need to in order to feel good. You, in order to feel good, want to be able to access states of courage, states of acceptance, states of love, and states of peace. But if you've got a nervous system that is in a state of stress, which like I say most people's are, you'll only be able to experience these emotions. So what we've got to do is figure out how you can transition from the heavier fight or flight survival emotions that make you feel shit to the lighter unity-based emotions that can make you feel really, really good. Well, first we've got to look at your nervous system, and we've got to understand that when you're walking around with stress, you're communicating to your unconscious mind that you're under danger. So the very first step is to figure out how to reduce stress. We've got to learn how to reduce stress. And we do that by communicating to our unconscious mind that we're not in any danger, we're actually very safe. You have an unconscious mind. And your unconscious mind, 100% of the time, throughout your entire life, is always asking, am I safe? Am I safe? Am I safe? Am I safe? And it receives an answer from you, from your body, based on how you're reacting to the world. And now, if you're stressed, then you're signifying to your unconscious mind that you're in danger, and then your unconscious mind is going to continue to ensure that you remain stressed. Because why would it want you to come out of stress when you're in danger? Stress is designed for you to stay alive, right? And this is why most people get stuck in stress, because their unconscious minds are constantly being given the information that we're under some kind of danger, and then it keeps us in a state of stress. Now, the very first thing to know is that our breath is key to regulating our nervous system. If you look at your breath right now and just notice how you're breathing. Are you breathing into your chest where maybe you're having short, sharp breaths? Or are you breathing down into your belly, nice and relaxed? It's more than likely you're breathing into your chest. I say that because we're not really taught how to breathe correctly, which is kind of crazy when you think about it, right? We were born breathing correctly. If you look at a baby, you'll see a baby's breathing really deep down into their bellies. And that's because it's a natural response to regulate themselves into a place of safety. That's where a baby needs to be in order to grow and be happy and healthy. So we're born with this ability, but somewhere along the line we lose it. We are influenced by the people around us and how they breathe, and we're not taught how to breathe correctly. And then by the time we're, I don't know, whatever age, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, we're walking around with tight bellies. Often this comes because we hold a lot of tension in our bellies because childhood can be quite painful and we often don't know how to feel all the emotions coming at us. So we brace down, we hold our bellies. Also, for a lot of people, they don't want to show their belly out too much, so that gets held in as well. And in the holding of our bellies, essentially, if you imagine, you know that you have you have your lungs here, and then below your lungs sits your diaphragm. Now, when you're breathing with a tight belly, the diaphragm gets kind of lodged into, it remains where it is because of the tension down here. And when you breathe, your lungs will only expand up and out. Now, what that's signifying to the unconscious mind is that you're under some kind of danger. And if you think about a lion that is totally relaxed, having maybe had its feed, and you see the pictures of them lying out under the sun, and they've got their bellies out, they will be in a deep state of relaxation, and naturally their bellies will be dropping down, and they wouldn't be looking for a threat. Notice how in those moments they feel totally safe. They're not bothered about anything around them. So their bodies are signifying that they're safe. Because we're constantly walking around with tight bellies and therefore our lungs aren't breathing to full capacity, we're creating stress and we're signifying that there could be danger. Because when we were under danger, we wouldn't be hanging around breathing into our bellies, right? So in order to start learning how to regulate our nervous system, especially if you have anxiety or you feel nervous in whatever situation, you want to be able to bring yourself down again, the first step is always the breath. This was known by the ancient Taoists and the yogis many years ago. But even today, most people aren't aware. Now, we do that by starting to bring awareness down into the belly. So as you watch this video, can you put awareness down in your belly right now? And just allow the breath to drop down. And notice that your lungs will have greater capacity in which to bring in oxygen. And even just me doing it now, I feel calmer. It's a really easy way to start bringing regulation to the nervous system. Your unconscious mind, like I say, is constantly thinking that we're unsafe based on what we're doing with our bodies. One is the breath. The second is movement. How are you moving throughout the world? Are you moving like an animal that's constantly looking for danger? Looking around the corner for danger? Constantly thinking about people disapproving of you, and therefore you need to figure out how to avoid other people's disapproval. So you're in social situations and you're looking around with erratic movements. You're carrying tension. You can imagine you're living in a tribe and you're under threat from a neighbouring tribe. You're not going to be hanging around, breathing deep, moving slow and void of tension, are you? No. You're going to be breathing sharp into the chest, short, sharp breaths. You're going to be moving very quickly, sharp movements like that. And you're going to carry a lot of tension in your body. Your unconscious mind is going to continue to send out all the signals of stress and fear and survival emotions in order to maintain your safety. So we got to figure out, how can we stop this? Now there's another thing as well we got to deal with here that's also creating stress, and that's our ego. Now our ego, essentially our thoughts, are really only focused on the future or the past. So the ego can't really exist in the present moment. We've got to exist in the present moment in order to feel good. So when we're present, we're able to feel the more unity-based emotions that come from being present. So literally, source can come through us. But when we're caught up in our ego, we're essentially either in the future or the past. The unconscious mind is only ever in the present moment. And so think about it. Your mind is constantly, if it's constantly going over past events, everything that happened to you in the past that caused you harm, the bullying, the mistreatment, all the things that went wrong, the heartbreaks, the setbacks, all of it. We tend to focus on the past from our ego, right? Now, the unconscious mind, because it only exists in the now, it doesn't know the difference between a real and an imagined event. This is why when you think about past experiences, you start re-experiencing them through your emotions. And that's how we carry the past into the present moment, by our ego's attachments to the past. So the unconscious mind that controls the stress response and literally is controlling your emotions thinks that when you're thinking about the past stuff that's happening to you, it thinks it's happening in the now, and so it sends off the signals to ignite the survival emotions in order for you to escape. So your unconscious mind will think that you're continuously under some form of danger if you're going over everything in the past that went wrong, even if it was just yesterday, not getting a job done or not having enough money coming in, or whatever it is. It's going to think that it's happening right now. And so you're going to be constantly experiencing these survival emotions. Not only that, your ego often looks to the future. So when you look towards your future, like if you're trying to manifest something, and in order to not re-experience everything that you went through in the past, the ego will look out to the future and project the past into the future. So if you got rejected at school by a little girl, that hurt, your ego will remember that event. And if you're trying to find a relationship, it's going to project that past event into the future, and you're basically going to believe that it will happen again, and then you avoid it so you don't have to experience the heavy emotions. Yet you're experiencing them almost every time you think about them. So doing it in real life isn't a lot different to doing it in your imagination. You're still going to ignite the same survival emotion responses. So there's a lot going on right now that is creating stress in our bodies. Not only that, our egos have attachments. Now the past and the future is an attachment. But also in attachments, we've got everything I talked about at the beginning, all the videos, all the social media posts, the drugs, the pornography, the drinking, the fast food. Let's just put it down as vices. Now, none of them are wrong, and I'm not suggesting you stop any of them. But if you want to feel good, I'm suggesting that maybe you want to look at reducing some of them in order to feel good. So what else is our egos attached to? Well, essentially anything that creates our identity. So that could be thoughts, emotions, just our name, our jobs, love and approval. So if you're people pleasing, things like that. I mean, there's so much more, but these are just some of the basic ones. So let's go through this. There's you walking through life. In order for you to have a good life, you want to feel good. In order to feel good, you have to be present. And you have to be coming from the unity-based emotions. Now, in order for you to be present, you have to be communicating that you're safe. In order to avoid feeling bad, you have to not be experiencing the survival-based emotions which are linked to the fight or flight response that literally take you out of presence. So you want to be present, but you can't because you're in fight or flight. When you're in fight or flight, your energy goes right up to the head, because from up here, you activated the eyes, you activated the ears, you activated the thinking. You're looking for how to stay alive, how to not die. You need to constantly figuring everything out, working it all out, thinking about the past, thinking about the future. All of that is putting you into fight or flight because the unconscious mind is receiving your behavior and believing that you must be in some form of danger. Also, you're breathing into the chest, you're moving quickly, and you've got tension in your body. Further communication to the unconscious mind that you're not safe. On top of that, your ego is thinking about all the shit that went wrong in life. And it's also predicting all the shit that will go wrong in the future. The unconscious mind thinks that's happening in the now. So there's even more reason for keeping you in a stress state. And then on top of that, you've got all of these attachments, especially to receiving approval, the attachments to the thoughts, and all the vices, all the habits and addictions that keep you small. And all of that is causing more stress and causing more of the survival-based emotions. Now, on top of that, we got to realise that there's a lot going on right now that is keeping us in a state of survival. You watch the news. Have you ever watched the news and come away feeling more the unity-based emotions? No. That's not what the news is designed for. Politics, pretty much all media, even the media that say they're doing good, they're still using shock tactics, just talking about different things. But it's all designed to trigger your survival-based emotions. So there's a lot coming at you, and it's causing you to stay in stress and is preventing you from feeling good. So how do we feel good? Presence. Presence is the only possible way that you are going to access the love, the true acceptance and the peace within you, because it is you. You're not fear, you're not the survival emotions, you're not the ego, you're not the mind that's constantly telling you everything that's wrong about yourself. You're none of it. What you are is source. You are connected to source. Essentially, we're all gods. we're just existing in a very heavy reality with egos that can only exist in this heavy reality, which is why when we die we don't bring our egos with us. And so in order for us to feel good, we must become present. But presence is the opposite of stress. So we got to figure out how we can come out of stress more. Obviously, one is the breath. You want to start being present with your body and watching your breath and noticing how often you breathe into your chest, and really start to learn to bring the breath down into the belly. In doing so, we regulate our nervous system, we communicate to our unconscious mind that we're safe, become a little bit more present. We want to look at how much tension we carry in our body. Are we like gripping our fists tight as we go throughout life? You know, have we got tension in our arms, got tension in our legs, in our perineum? These are all ways in which we create more stress. When we're not present, we're up in our head thinking, it creates more tension in the body and we're not even aware that we're doing it. We want to look at our movements. How can we flow through life with calm movements rather than constantly moving and being erratic? All of these are going to allow us to regulate our nervous system, come out of fight or flight, access more presence where we can start to feel good. Also, you've got to remember that all of your habits and addictions are taking you out of presence. Our true identity is just pure love, unconditional. And we think that love is an emotion, but in reality, it's not. It's just our true identity. And this love wants to come through us. And out into the heart. And then into the heart. And then out into the world. But our egos are getting in the way because we're identified with them. That's where you came from before you came here to Earth, and that's where you go back to. But the ego was formed in this lifetime on Earth, in this heavier, dense reality compared to here. And it's the part of us that we leave when we die. And the ego, it's essentially an entity that's been created based on all of your conditioning, your trauma, all of it. Been created by the media, by society, everything. It doesn't want you coming here. And it literally doesn't want you going there, because in going there, in this lifetime, I'm not talking about after you die, in going there now, you have to become present. And in doing that, the ego has to disappear. Because the ego is in direct opposition to that, to the feeling good in your heart. And so the ego will put up a bunch of stories that's going to tell you that that's not real. And your true happiness is found in your phones and in your fast food and in your drugs and alcohol. So all of your habits and addictions are coming from your ego. Your ego can only exist in separation, and essentially you're going to remain in the fight or flight survival response because of it. So in order for you to feel good in life, you must become present, and the best way to become present is to sit in meditation. Most people don't meditate. They, despite all the all the teachings behind the effectiveness of meditation, we're still searching for this out there. We're still doing it. And we don't want to sit in meditation because it's not that. In meditation we don't feel good because we're not prepared to sit through the discomfort long enough in order to access the love that's already there. Now, in order for you to start creating the life that you want, you're going to have to cut out your habits and addictions, because your habits and addictions are essentially siphoning your energy. This God love energy that wants to come through you can only do it when you're present. And when you're caught up in these, you can't be present. And so what's happening is, this is your true identity. It's just that now this, like through your eyes, is being siphoned into your phone. So every night when you're staring at your phone, all of that presence that could be used towards creating a dream life is just going into your phone. It's depleting you, it's making you weak. It's why you feel shit when you do it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it. I hope I was able to get across this message that in order to feel good, you've really got to cut out your habits and addictions. You've got to learn how to breathe properly. You've got to become more present to how your body's reacting to the world, because that's communicating to your unconscious mind how safe you are or not. You want to bring awareness down into the body in order to create more presence. You want to learn how to open your heart in that, and then your heart is going to guide you in life to what you really want to be doing, including your manifestations. You want to be able to sit in meditation and think about the life that you want to be living and have your heart open and feel how good that feels to have it. If you want help with this, I'm available for one-on-one work. Just click the link in the description, and I'll see you in the next video.